History remembers their names. But behind the legends were two people, ambitious, magnetic, and fatally drawn to one another. This is the tale of Cleopatra and Mark Antony, a story of seduction and sovereignty, devotion and destruction. When love and power collide, empires fall. Cleopatra VII, last of the pharaohs. She was no ordinary queen. Educated in sciences, master of persuasion, fluent in 9 languages. More than beauty, she was a political force. Her throne stood at the crossroads of cultures, and she ruled with precision and grace. Mark Antony, Rome's lion-hearted general, fierce in battle, revered by his legions, loyal to Julius Caesar, and after Caesar's death, hungry for control. He commanded the eastern provinces, but his heart was still unclaimed. In 41 BC, fate brought them together. Cleopatra didn't arrive in Tarsus quietly. She came as a goddess, draped in gold, sailing up the river Cydnus on a barge perfumed with incense and mystery. Antony watched, spellbound. The moment he saw her, the warlord surrendered without a single battle. What started as strategy deepened into obsession. Antony followed Cleopatra to Alexandria, not for politics, but for passion. There, they built a world of their own. The inimitable livers, a decadent circle of wine, poetry, and devotion, a fantasy built on desire and power. But behind the laughter was ambition. Cleopatra gave Antony fleets, funds, and a future. He, in return, gave her a crown alongside his own. Their union was more than romantic. It was revolutionary. Antony declared Caesar Ion, Cleopatra's son by Julius Caesar, as Caesar's true heir, a direct threat to Octavian, Caesar's adopted successor. Rome erupted. Whispers turned to war cries. The Senate recoiled. The east and west of the empire braced for civil war. The final battle happened at sea, Actium, 31 BC. Antony and Cleopatra led a strong navy against Octavian's forces. But things took a turn. As ships burned and their plan fell apart, Cleopatra suddenly sailed away. Antony, torn between being a leader and his love for her, followed. The battle was lost before it even finished. Back in Alexandria, their hopes crumbled. Their army was gone. Their allies had vanished. Their enemies were closing in. Octavian drew near. People whispered that Cleopatra was already dead. Heartbroken, Antony stabbed himself with his sword. But Cleopatra was still alive, devastated. She dressed in her royal clothes one last time. Then, as the story goes, she let a poisonous snake bite her, choosing death not from weakness, but to stay in control until the very end. 2 powerful lives came to an end, and with them, a whole era closed. Cleopatra's death ended Egypt's long line of pharaohs. Antony's death marked the fall of the Roman Republic. Octavian went back to Rome and became Augustus, the first Roman emperor. Egypt was no longer its own kingdom. The dream they had of ruling together died with them, but their story never disappeared. Over the centuries, poets wrote about them, plays were performed, and movies were made. Cleopatra and Antony became more than just historical figures. They became legends, symbols of deep love that defied the world, an ambition that shined so bright it couldn't last. Quiet corners of Alexandria, their story still lingers. A queen who ruled like a goddess, a warrior who followed love to his downfall. This was Cleopatra. This was Mark Antony. A love story carved into history, written in passion, sealed in tragedy, and remembered forever. Were they doomed by fate or undone by choice? Their story may be ancient, but the questions it leaves behind still echo today. If stories like this speak to you, stay close. Subscribe for more love, loss, and the power that lives between.